I am so excited to be back. And not only am I excited to be back, we have so much to talk about. There is so much that we need to catch up on. So let's just get started. We have a new best team in the NFL. We had a Super Bowl rematch. And most importantly, we had the most spectacular early game slate I've seen maybe ever. My 3 biggest games of the week, because we had some unbelievable games. And yes, this is week 2, and it's the first week I'm doing this. Week 1 was spectacular. Spectacular. It was nothing short of amazing. And somehow, some way, week 2 almost matched it, if not exceeded all of that. It was phenomenal to watch. Starting off, Jags Bengals. Obviously, huge injury news with Joe Burrow being out for the next 3 months potentially. And that's not what you like to see. But for the sake of right now, we're going to stick to the game. Jags Bengals. Jake Browning. He looked awfully amazing, or amazingly awful. However you want to say it. Jake Browning did what he needed to do. He secured the win for the Cincinnati Bengals. He had some moments where he showed a little bit of rustiness, a little bit of not ready for the moment. He had some ugly turnovers. But that being said, at the end of the day, Jake Browning got it done when it mattered most. The Cincinnati Bengals got it done when it mattered most. They pulled out with the win, despite Jacksonville coming in with a whole lot of firepower offensively. Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Etienne. Now they trade away Tank Bigsby. They have Bashal Tutin, who looked good, especially this past week against the Cincinnati Bengals. But I have some questions for the other side. T-Law, Trevor Lawrence, what are we doing? Get it done. You got Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, and now you got Cincinnati without Joe Burrow. That first half was an ugly first half for both sides. Trevor, this was your chance to prove that Liam Cohen was what you needed. You have the guys, Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Etienne. You have the playmakers. Although, I want to touch on that in just a second because maybe he doesn't have the playmakers. However, Trevor Lawrence was unable to get it done. He looked good at times. He looked rough at times. This was a matchup between Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow, the number 1 pick in the 2020 draft and the number 1 pick in the 2021, and it turned into the number 1 pick in the 2021 draft versus a backup quarterback in Jake Browning, and he still couldn't get it done. Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville. This is not Duval. This was Houday in Cincinnati, and you just didn't perform enough. It was a good performance. It was not enough of a performance. And that, at the end of the day, is the end of the story when it comes to Jacksonville. But it's actually not, because Brian Thomas Jr., are we watching a for real sophomore slump? Because he had some dropped passes that were surefire big-time plays in the game. He had one on 4th down where he wasn't guaranteed to get in the end zone. There was a Bengals linebacker who was going to come in and, he was going to give him the tackle. He was going to give him the shoulder real quick. But Brian Thomas Jr. dropped the ball. He was wide open for a first down to keep the drive alive when they were in the red zone, and he just dropped the ball. And what happened? Cincinnati and Jake Browning, Jamar Chase, they picked it up and they won the game because of that. Too many turnovers from both sides, to be fair. Jake Browning had too many turnovers. Trevor Lawrence had too many turnovers. This one wasn't on Trevor Lawrence. This one was on Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Thomas Jr. was, last year, one of the best rookie receivers we've ever seen. Expectations were sky high for him. And he dropped the ball way too many times. 12 targets, 4 receptions. Brian Thomas, step it up. Liam Cohen is a phenomenal offensive mastermind. But he's got to make sure that he's getting the most out of his players right now, because that's not happening. But at the end of the day, the biggest note on this game is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is out for potentially 3 months with turf toe. Turf toe. It doesn't sound all that bad until you're like, what is turf toe? So you do some research. You see that it's a ligament in your toe. And he has got a grade 3 turf toe. Again, that kind of sounds like some elementary injury that I would hear from the nurse's office. Oh, you have turf toe. You can't play outdoor recess for today. Ice it. No, but it's actually a serious deal. This is a legit injury. And because of that, Joe Burrow is potentially out for 3 months, which means he's out for potentially 12 weeks, which, if you're doing the math, is almost the entirety of the regular season. Joe Burrow was not the only piece to this Bengals team. The Bengals are a good team. Trey Hendrickson, Jamar Chase, they have so many guys who can perform. However, this team, without Joe Burrow, has lost its purpose, and they have lost a chance at the playoffs. I will already say that if Joe Burrow is out for the 3 months that we expect, the Bengals have a near zero chance to make the playoffs. The Jaguars, however, need to figure it out, because if they don't, they might be in the same boat. Moving on, next game of the week. I did this. I meant to do this. Second game of the 3 games of the week. Giants, Cowboys. I know what you're thinking. The Giants, they put up 6 points against the Commanders. The Cowboys, they look good, but how is that a game? They look good against the Eagles. They were supposed to smack the New York Giants. How is this a good game? Well, it wasn't, but it was. This game was a game that didn't have its first touchdown until 5 minutes and 37 seconds left in the second quarter. This game was 17-16 going into the fourth. It ended 40-37 in overtime. This was one of the most back and forth chaotic games I've seen in a long time. Russell Wilson put up numbers. He had a career day, yet he also cost the Giants the game. How does that make sense? Stay tuned. Let me just break down how this fourth quarter went, because for a long time, this game seemed boring. No one wanted to pay attention to it. With 2 minutes and 44 seconds left to go in the game, Wandale Robinson scored a touchdown. Giants take the lead. Coming right back the other way, the Cowboys scored a touchdown. George Pickens with 52 seconds left. You're thinking the Cowboys are up. This game is 4-point game, and the Cowboys are leading. There's less than a minute. No way the Giants are going to come back. Russell Wilson is washed. Mr. Unlimited this, Mr. Unlimited that. Well, how about this? A 48-yard deep bomb from Russell Wilson to none other than Malik Nabers. He might be a top 3 receiver in the league, and I know CeeDee Lamb was on the other side. He might be 3 too. The two of them were going back and forth, and Malik Nabers, he is special. He is a true wide receiver 1 in this league, and Russell Wilson was able to find and connect him with him for a touchdown, bringing the Giants up to 3-point lead. Right after that, there's 25 seconds left to go. The Dallas Cowboys are able to drive to get Brandon Aubrey, their glorified kicker, a 64-yard look to tie this game. And what does he do? Of course, he sinks it. Brandon Aubrey sinks a 64-yard field goal to tie the game and send it to overtime. In overtime, Dallas wins possession. They punt it away. New York gets the ball. They punt it away. Dallas punts it back. New York with a chance to win, and what does Russell Wilson do? Throw maybe the worst interception I've seen in a long time. There was nobody close except for the Dallas Cowboy safety who was able to pick it off. It was such a tremendous game. He was having the game of his life. 450 passing yards. 23 rushing yards on the ground. He almost had 500 yards himself. And the way he caps that off is with an interception. Oh, Russell Wilson. What are you doing? You just had it all and you threw it all away. And of course, this game is going to end with a Brandon Aubrey field goal. Of course it is. Dallas would go on to drive, kick a field goal with 0 time left on the clock. And Brandon Aubrey won this game for the Dallas Cowboys. This game ended 40-37. It was absolutely the most abnormal ending to what seemed like such a piss-poor game. It was pure chaos. It was peak entertainment. It was phenomenal. As Martin Scorsese said, absolute cinema. Absolute cinema. That is what this game was. Meanwhile, both of these games, the Jags, Bengals, and Giants, Cowboys, were going on at the same time. Another 2 games, these are my honorable mentions that were going on at the same time, were 49ers Saints and Pats Dolphins, my 2 honorable mentions of my 3 games of the week. All 4 of these were going on at the same time. If you were watching Red Zone, you had to shout and scream and point to which screen to look at that current moment to see what play was happening, because there was so much going on in all of these games all at the same time. It was so entertaining. This is what I'm talking about. This is why you love the game. This is why you watch NFL Red Zone. This is why. It was phenomenal. And this is going to take me right into my third and final game because this week was chaos. And this third game was nothing short of the same. It was absolute chaos through and through, especially at the end once again. Broncos, Colts. This game, coming off of a huge win, the Indianapolis Colts were looking to take on the Denver Broncos. Last year's one of the more improbable teams last year to make the playoffs. That did. Bo Nix led them as a rookie in a phenomenal season, and the Broncos had high hopes coming into this year. The Broncos and Colts face off in Indianapolis. Someone take a DNA sample of Daniel Jones, please. Oh my God. He looks like he might be like an elite quarterback now. Like, genuinely. He genuinely might be an elite quarterback now. He is the second most passing yards in the entire NFL so far. Keep in mind, it's 2 weeks, and there's still 4 teams who haven't played yet because there's 2 Monday Night Football games, which is unique. But Daniel Jones, oh my God, someone take a DNA sample. I don't think that's him under that helmet. That can't be him because the Daniel Jones that I know that was on the Giants and the Daniel Jones that we're watching on the Indianapolis Colts, that's not the same guy. He had 316 passing yards and 2 total touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, the backfield duo between Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor might just be everything Colts fans could have possibly wanted. He had over 200 yards from scrimmage to add on a touchdown. The two of them looked phenomenal. They really did. And this Broncos defense, people were saying, was the best defense in the league coming into this year. And I have a new best defense in the league, but I thought that it was the Broncos defense before this season started too. And it just was a phenomenal, phenomenal game. Bo Nix, he turned it around too. Yeah, he had some question marks after week 1, but I really think that he turned it around. He looked good. He had over 200 passing yards himself. He also added 20 on the ground. He had 3 touchdowns. He did have a pick, but 3 touchdowns over 200 yards. He looked fine as a quarterback. It was more the 3 touchdowns that stand out to me rather than the 200 yards. But that game was just phenomenal. J.K. Dobbins in the running back room clearly is leading the way. R.J. Harvey, those of you who drafted him thinking he would be high, 5 rushes, 8 yards. J.K. Dobbins, 14 rushes, 76 yards, and a touchdown. And Troy Franklin. He looks good. He's solidifying himself as a legit wide receiver 2 behind Courtland Sutton, who had a quiet day, but Troy Franklin, he did not. 8 receptions, 89 yards, and a touchdown. But the real reason that this game was as spectacular as it was the absolute chaos. And I keep using that word, but I'm gonna keep using it because it's so fitting. But the real reason this game was chaos was because of what happened at the end of the game. Check this out. Colts, down 2. Spencer Schrader, their kicker, lines up for a 60-yard field goal. I'll show you so you can watch along. Roll it! Schrader lines up, kicks the ball, and it is wide right. No good. Watch the Colts mascot as he falls to the ground in disbelief. But what's the flag? A leverage penalty. Have you ever seen that in your life? Spencer Schrader now has a 45-yarder that he kicks right through the uprights as time expires. The Colts mascot dances and celebrates in awe, an incredibly weird and unusual end to a phenomenal game. Colts ended up winning that game on that kick, 29-28 against the Denver Broncos, and I know what you might be thinking. And yes, it's true. The Colts, the Indianapolis Colts, are legit. Keep that in mind throughout this season. The Indianapolis Colts are legit. Anthony Richardson, no more. Daniel Jones, yes, please. And this showed why. Not because of the missed 60-yard and the leverage penalty to win, but the fact that this resilience, this team, Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, even Spencer Schrader, the entire team is building momentum. They are building up momentum. And it is coming through, and we just saw it. The Colts are now 2-0, leading their division as they move forward into this season.